The This Morning presenting pair have come under fire from members of the public and TV personalities after they were spotted visiting the Queen's lying-in state without having to queue. However, both presenters and ITV have insisted it was in a professional capacity and they had received media accreditation. This still hasn't sat well with some, however, with GB News star Dan Wootton letting loose on Holly, Philip and their boss, Carolyn, given her latest comments. Dan explained the situation and the reason for his stance as he opened his GB News show on Tuesday by saying, "The tone-deaf, left-wing, ultra-woke broadcaster ITV just doesn't get it when it comes to the justified outrage over Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby skipping the queue to see the Queen lying in state, and then pretending they didn't," the presenter shouted at the camera. He went on, "So today, the lefty chief executive, Caroline McCall, who has overseen a purge by the way of right-wing talent at the broadcaster over the past 2 years, stood by her embattled hosts. She told the RTS conference, they did have accreditation. Lots of people saying they didn't. They were sent by This Morning to do a piece for September 20th, which ran. They were to interview people inside and outside. They didn't displace anyone in the queue and they've been very misrepresented, actually. And that's why we made a statement. Unusually, we made a statement to say all of those things. But it does show how things spread and how misinformation just spreads. And it is really horrible for them." Reverting back to his own words, Dan launched his attack, "I'm sorry, Ms. McCall. The only one spreading misinformation here's you. They didn't interview any people inside or outside, they weren't allowed to inside. And then they hastily filmed themselves on a shaky mobile phone when they realized the growing outrage at the decision to push in front of the British public who had lined up for 13 hours. Dan wasn't done there as he raised another point Caroline made at the RTS conference regarding a tweet shared by the account of the pizza restaurant, Domino's. He said, "But to show you the way ITV wields its power," the CEO then revealed the company had complained to Domino's, the pizza company, over their tweet which read, "Apologies to anyone waiting on their pizza, we've just received an order from Holly and Phil." I thought that was funny, right, but McCall said, "We just said to them, what are you doing? Because we work with Domino's and they said, we think it is really funny, don't you? They just thought it was funny. They didn't think of the impact that would have on how people would pick it up and start memeing it. Look, let me just tell you one thing," Dan said before claiming, ITV proved today it now represents censorship over freedom of speech. While Dan may convinced Holly and Philip Q jumped, the ITV stars have explained they understood the reaction but insisted it was purely for This Morning. Holly said on the show on Tuesday, September 20th, "Like hundreds of accredited broadcasters and journalists, we were given official permission to access the hall. It was strictly for the purposes of reporting on the event for millions of people in the UK who haven't been able to visit Westminster in person. The rules were we would be quickly escorted around the edges to a platform at the back. In contrast, those paying respects walked around a carpeted area beside the coffin and were given time to pause." Dan Wootton Tonight airs Sunday to Thursday at 9 p.m. on GB News.